Venezuela celebrates the canonization of Saints Jose Gregorio Hernandez and Mother Carmen Rendiles, the first saints of the South American nation. The Colombian government has strongly criticized Donald Trump's allegations against President Gustavo Petro and has called out Washington's double standards in the fight against drug trafficking. And in Palestine, health authorities registered 27 deaths and 143 injuries in Israeli attacks since October 11, 2025, despite the entry into force of the ceasefire. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Alejandra Garcia from teleSUR Studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. In a ceremony led by Pope Leo XIV, the saint at St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican City, Mother Carmen Rendiles and Dr. Jose Gregorio Hernandez were canonized, becoming the first Venezuelan blessed to ascend to sainthood. Thousands of faithful and official delegations celebrated the canonization of 7 new saints of the Catholic Church. In this scenario, Pope Leo XIV highlighted the importance of these figures as living testimonies of faith, charity, and commitment to the most vulnerable. The canonization of Mother Carmen Rendiles and Dr. Jose Gregorio Hernandez has been the most anticipated event for the Venezuelan Catholic Church in decades.
In honor of the Most Holy Trinity, for the exaltation of the Catholic faith and the growth of Christian life, by the authority of our Lord Jesus Christ, the holy apostles Peter and Paul, and ours, after having reflected at length,
después de haber reflexionado largamente, invocando muchas veces la ayuda divina y oído
often invoking divine aid, and hearing the opinions of numerous brothers in the episcopate, we declare and define as saints the blessed martyrs, Ignatius Malodin, Pedro Torret,
Ignacio Malodin, Pedro Torrot, Vincenza Maria,
Pinches Maria Poloni, Maria Carmen Rendiles Martinez, Maria Troncati, Jose Gregorio Hernandez, Cisneros, and Bartolo Longo.
Gregorio Hernández, Cisneros y Bartolo Longo, y los inscribimos en el catálogo.
And we inscribe them in the catalogue of saints, and we establish that, throughout the Church, they be devoutly honored among the saints, in the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Cardinal Marcelo Semeraro, prefect of the Dicastery for the Causes of Saints, honored the life of St. Jose Gregorio Hernandez, praising his legacy as a symbol of faith and solidarity.
Jose Gregorio Hernandez Cisneros, blessed Jose Gregorio Hernandez Cisneros, was born in Venezuela in 1864, studied medicine at the University of Caracas, and was sent by the Venezuelan authorities to further his studies in Paris, with the aim of establishing in his native country a number of professorships of which he became the holder. A public medicine practitioner, he conducted specific studies and received numerous awards. However, above all, he became famous as the doctor of the poor, because he treated those who had nothing to pay him for free. In fact, he even bought their medicines for them. Through this form of charity, he fulfilled his aspiration to consecrated life, which was denied him due to his fragile health. He died in a traffic accident while transporting medication to a sick child on June 29, 1919. He was identified by Pope Francis in 2021.
Cardinal Marcelo Semeraro also remembered the life of Mother Carmen Rendiles, honoring her legacy of faith, humanity, and service.
On May 9, 1977, Blessed Maria Carmen Rendiles Martinez, founder and superior general of the religious family of the Servants of Jesus, died in Caracas, Venezuela. She was born in 1903, and at the age of 24, she entered the Congregation of the Servants of Jesus Most Holy Sacrament. When the congregation became a secular institute, she and other sisters, in their desire to continue living their religious vocation, they asked to be able to create a new institute that would continue with the same charism of love for the Eucharist and service to priests. The last 3 years of her life were marked by the consequences of a car accident that made it difficult for her to work for the congregation. Pope Francis proclaimed her blessed in 2018.
Congregación. El Papa Francisco la
Vatican City, a large delegation of Venezuelans and representatives of the Episcopal Conference expressed their fervor and devotion to Saints Dr. Jose Gregorio Hernández and Mother Carmen Rendiles. Leslie.
Estos santos representan para nosotros un modelo.
These saints represent for us a model, an example of the Church's journey in consecrated life in its various forms. Dr. Jose Gregorio Hernández, as a consecrated layman, and my mother Carmen Rendiles, as a religious sister. The Church is rich in charisma. We ourselves are a community of consecrated laymen. I am from Venezuela. I have come for the canonization of Jose Gregorio Hernández. I've been a devotee for many years. As well as my family, I have come from Genoa to be present representing my country.
And in the state of Trujillo in Venezuela, Andes, a caravan of hundreds of people celebrated the canonization of Saint Jose Gregorio Hernández and Saint Carmen Rendiles. The parishioners walked 17 kilometers from the city of Valera to the town of Isnotu to accompany and honor the first saints of Venezuela. The people of Trujillo are proud that a distinguished citizen such as Dr. Jose Gregorio was recognized by the Vatican and received the highest honor for his spiritual commitment. A group of doctors also participated and were pleased and happy to be part of the procession, which they believe represents an opportunity to renew faith and strengthen ties between citizens. And as part of the celebration of Saints Jose Gregorio Hernández and Mother Carmen Rendiles in Isnotu, the faithful and devoted held a procession in honor of the first Venezuelan saints. It should be noted that the holiness of Saint Jose Gregorio Hernández was officially approved on February 21st, 2025 by Pope Francis, who ratified the favorable votes received in the ordinary session of the Cardinal Fathers and Bishops of the Congregation for the Causes of Saints. Also from the Venezuelan capital, from Candelaria Square, citizens joined a canonization vigil entitled Saints for All, an event of faith and popular unity for all capital residents near the area. This historic event is celebrated with songs, exhibitions, community renewals, restorations, new bells, and many prayers that rise up through the streets of Caracas in gratitude for the miracles granted by Saint Jose Gregorio Hernández and Mother Carmen Rendiles. Amidst the fireworks and prayers from La Guaira, parishioners celebrate the canonization of Saint Jose Gregorio Hernández and Mother Carmen Rendiles. Hundreds of faithful attended the event as a sign of gratitude to Saint Jose Gregorio Hernández for the miracles performed in his life. This ecclesiastical recognition not only honors the legacy of faith and service of these two figures, but also marks a transcendental milestone, as they are the first Venezuelan blessed to be elevated to sainthood. And the people of Venezuela as a whole celebrate with great joy and devotion the canonization of Venezuelans Jose Gregorio Hernández and Carmen Rendiles. Venezuelan President of vigil at the Jose Gregorio Hernández House Museum in Caracas. The event was marked by the faith and enthusiasm of thousands of faithful who waited for the canonization Mass. In this regard, the head of state affirmed that Pope Francis fulfilled his promise of canonization for Jose Gregorio Hernández, and now the Venezuelan people feel immense gratitude towards the Catholic Church.
Bueno, realmente un día muy emocionante.
It is truly a very exciting day and a day of spiritual joy for all of Venezuela, for all Venezuelans and beyond our borders, because Jose Gregorio has always reached beyond our borders. He was always a saint here. We are in his home. I wanted to come to his home again.
Siempre fue santo. Aquí estamos en su casa. Quise venir a su casa otra vez. Esto que inauguramos aquí como museo.
This is what we are inaugurating here as a museum, where he lived here in Caracas, and we have also seen people in his notice since yesterday afternoon. They have been keeping watch for more than 12 hours, and it is a day where the power of holiness of the people of Venezuela,
Donde se ha logrado que se reconozca la fuerza de santidad que tiene el pueblo de Venezuela. Primera vez que hay dos santos.
has been recognized for the first time. There are two saints, a man and a woman, a great saint, Mother Carmen Rendiles, and the saint, the doctor of the poor, our Dr. Jose Gregorio Hernandez.
Y muy emocionante. Hemos visto toda la ceremonia, los 10 liturgias.
It is a day of true joy and excitement. We have seen the entire ceremony, the liturgy, Pope Leo's message, and the large delegation of Venezuelans who were there. The beautiful tricolor flag with the 8 stars, and the radiant horse galloping toward peace.
Galopando hacia la paz, siempre victorioso.
Moreover, the Venezuelan president asked the new saints to protect the people of Venezuela.
Y hoy me encomendé a la Santísima Trinidad y le pedí.
Today I committed myself to the Holy Trinity, and asked Mother Carmen, Holy Mother Carmen Rendiles, and Dr. Jose Gregorio, to cover our country with a sacred cloak, so that our country may continue to exist.
Siga su camino de paz y que curen el corazón de la gente que odia. Que nadie odia aquí.
And cover the hearts of those who hate. No one hates Venezuela from over there, and no one hates Venezuela from within. May no one wish evil upon Venezuela, neither from outside nor from within. May we wish each other well, and on that path we are heading for greatness.
Lo que vamos es pa' grande, ¿oyó?
A short break coming up. First, remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. Colombia condemns Donald Trump's accusations against President Gustavo Petro and denounces Washington's double standards in the fight against drug trafficking. The Minister of Defense assured that the statements of the President of the United States, Donald Trump, are a disrespect against national sovereignty. In addition, he reaffirmed that Colombian authorities are carrying out an intensive deployment to neutralize drug production and armed crime in the country. Meanwhile, the President of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, responded to the testimonies of the United States and pointed out that the boat that was attacked in the Caribbean had no connections with armed groups. And now we go to Brazil, where at least 17 people died and several were injured after a tourist bus accident on the highway between Paratanamá and Saloa in the state of Pernambuco. The vehicle was traveling in the wrong direction, and after an initial collision, a sandbank caused it to overturn. The Director General of the Forensic Police, Wagner Becerra, stated that although there's still no report confirming the exact cause of the accident, the relevant analysis of the braking system and other components of the vehicle are being carried out. The authorities are also investigating possible discrepancies in the passenger list and whether there was a mechanical failure or human error in driving. And in Bolivia, a second round of general elections begins to elect the country's new president. More than 7 million Bolivians will go to the polls on Sunday to vote between candidates Rodrigo Paz from the Christian Democratic Party and Jorge Tuto Quiroga from the Free Alliance. From 8 a.m. local time, notaries and jurors were at the polling stations to verify that the process was being conducted correctly. Preliminary results are expected to be announced between 8 and 9 p.m. through the results transmission system. The Confederation of Indigenous Nationalities of Ecuador, CONAIE, denounced on Saturday the suspension of the Inti Pasha radio signal in what it is described as a direct attack on freedom of expression and indigenous communications. The community media outlet was sanctioned by the Telecommunications Regulation and Control Agency with a 15-day suspension of its broadcast in the context of the protest against the government of Daniel Noboa. The indigenous movement condemned the measure as a punishment for popular and community communication and vowed to continue speaking out. The organization noted that this is part of a pattern, citing the suspensions of Radio Illumining and TV MICC, as well as signal blocking and harassment of community communicators. And in other informations, in Havana, Cuba, the first Granma Rebelde International Festival concluded, marking the 60th anniversary of the founding of the newspapers Granma and Juventud Rebelde. The meeting offered a space for political, academic, popular and cultural exchange, where participants from 30 countries came together under the premise of confronting media manipulation. During the first day, the festival focused on highlighting the role that the leader of the Cuban Revolution, Fidel Castro, played in the Cuban press. Additionally, it was an opportunity for different media outlets such as Almayadin, teleSUR and Cuba Visión to meet and exchange experiences and proposals to dignify the work of contemporary journalism. And we have a second shower break coming up. Before we invite you to visit our Facebook page at teleSUR English, there you'll be able to watch our top stories, special live coverage and much more. Follow our page and activate the notification button to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final shower break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to From the South. In Palestine, health authorities received 29 bodies and treated 21 injured Palestinians in the last 48 hours despite the entry into force of the ceasefire. Gazan health officials reported that the number of Palestinian deaths in the Gaza Strip rose to more than 68,000 and the number of injured exceeds 170,000. They also reported that despite the ceasefire, there have been 27 Palestinian deaths and 143 injuries from Israeli attacks since October 11, 2025. Gazan authorities indicated that 15 additional unidentified bodies were also received from Israel, bringing the total number of bodies returned to 135. In this scenario, the Palestinian Ministry of Social Development reported that at least 57,000 children became orphans since the beginning of the Israeli regime's aggression against the people of Gaza. Israel's genocidal attacks include the use of all types of firearms, which resulted in the destruction of infrastructure and society in the Palestinian enclave. The ministry warned that children are the group most affected by the occupation's attacks, as they have lost their parents and have been deprived of education and family stability. Meanwhile, environmental research organizations report that the Gaza Strip is facing an unprecedented environmental crisis, threatening to unleash a long-term humanitarian catastrophe. Intense Israeli bombing has destroyed ecosystems, rendering most agricultural land unusable and devastating water systems in the region. Also, currently, the situation, described by experts as a free fall, can be summed up in three critical factors. First, contaminated water. Second, destroyed farmland. And finally, a broken electrical grid, which together are bringing the Palestinian enclave to the brink of collapse. And Israeli warplanes carried out a series of airstrikes in southern Lebanon, targeting a cement plant and the facilities of an environmental group. The Israeli army stated that it attacked a quarry operated by the international company Mayabel and a site belonging to the Green Without Borders because the Hezbollah resistance movement was using them as alleged terrorist fronts. For its part, the Lebanese Ministry of Health confirmed that following the massive explosions, 6 people were injured in the cities of Banafol and Ansar. It should be noted that the incident marks a significant escalation in the current cross-border conflict, which has seen almost daily exchanges of fire since October 2023. And in Russia, air defense forces intercepted at least 45 combat drones in various regions of the country. According to a statement from the Ministry of Defense, the interceptions were carried out in 12 regions, most of them in the city of Samara. Earlier, the Orenburg governor stated that the attack in his jurisdiction caused a fire at a gas plant in the southwestern Urals. In this context, defensive operations forced the Russian National Civil Aviation Agency to impose temporary flight restrictions in at least 5 airports. And in other informations, in France, 9 pieces belonging to the jewelry collection of Napoleon Bonaparte and his first wife, Empress Josephine, were stolen from the Louvre Museum in Paris. In this context, as a preventive measure, the authorities announced the closure of the Paris Museum for 24 hours to preserve evidence. The French police launched an investigation on charges of organized theft and criminal association, believing that 3 or 4 criminals were responsible for the theft. The robbery took place on Sunday morning, and the thieves used a freight left on the renovation to access the Apollo Gallery. The robbers managed to enter and leave the museum in 7 minutes. And after this information, we have come to the end of this news brief. Remember, you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. We also invite you to join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok as well. For TeleSUR English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.